What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. We'll try to keep this one brief because we're starting later than usual, and also, my body seems intent on dying. I have one superhumanly good day, and then my body decides over the course of the next few days it is time to die. No sleep, you are weak with the weights. Time is already moving fast, but just to fuck with you, let's make it feel like it's moving 3 times as fast for no reason. Oh, yeah, and the flexibility stretching shit you've been doing, it's not making any difference. Oh, yeah, and the creatine. I'm experimenting with the 15 milligram, or 15 grams actually, per day of creatine, because that's the new craze, right? Well, actually, I think the craze is 20 grams, maybe even 30. Creatine makes you shit like crazy, and everyone's talking about how megadosing creatine is supposed to make you more acute mentally when you are sleep deprived. I am not finding that to be the case. Creatine gave me one superhuman day and then multiple days of decay and dribble ass. Now, perhaps uniquely among media, manga is aspirational. I've been meditating on why I stopped reading manga. Haven't stopped any other form of media outside gaming, and that's only because I don't have a lot of time and other shit is taking up that time. I used to like manga over anime because it was something you could pick up and put down, and back in the day, I always felt better about everything after reading manga. And that's something I don't get from other forms of media, at least not to that extent. Manga was the bright spot in my life for a long time. And I think that's because manga feeds on hope, or it uses hope and awe better than any other form of media does. Because manga is good at making you believe in something, it's good at making you hope for something, aspire to something. But, or no, let's use examples first. You aspire to have a young, hip life around a bunch of characters, and you have or you live out your story. You read a romance manga, and now you are dreaming of meeting the love of your life. Or you read a sports manga, and you get super into the idea of mastering a sport. Or an action manga, you read an action manga, and you enjoy the power fantasy of maybe being even a fraction of that strong or that cool one day. Or you read one of these cocksucker, this manga taught me how to live mangas, which, in a vacuum, when you aren't aware of all these other people who are reading them and being taught by them how to live, they're not so bad. They're not so bad. They're pretty good. And you reflect on your principles and your life and what it all means to you. And you're gonna how you are are going to live out your life. How you are going to live out your life meaningfully. Manga is a cock tease medium. And I think that's why it worked best for me when I was young. Because when you're young, you are certain of the fact of your getting one day. And you are entranced by anyone or anything that tickles that certainty. When you're a young dude, you enjoy a cock tease because you think or you feel certain this is going somewhere. That's the rush of it. Not the getting somewhere, but the thrill of feeling like you know it is going somewhere. Eventually, you reach an age that makes you sick. It's like Patrice's Cracker Jacks metaphor or analogy. You like manga when you're young because it plays to your certainty you and your life are going somewhere. You are becoming someone. And to be clear, you are going somewhere. You are becoming someone. But in real life, you don't see the destination. You might not realize it once you've arrived. And it probably doesn't feel like a destination either, because there are no destinations, there are only stops. And the stops aren't very sexy, they aren't fun usually. Your life is defined by new lows, heretofore unforeseen. But manga, when you still have hope, when you don't know yet, it almost feels like looking at pinups of the girl you left behind you. It's this aspirational reminder of what you're doing this for. It sustains you with a promise of something better once you get through this. When you are small enough, you need that sort of sustaining. And maybe you always need that sort of sustaining, but eventually you grow out of your ability to enjoy it, or at least to believe in it on that level. I'm sure one day I'll get deep back into manga, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I tried reading one of those gag mangas. Oh god, I think it's Eminence and Shadow or something like that. It was pretty good. As far as I got into it, it was pretty good. But it weren't doing it for me. If we're sticking with the World War II example, somewhere between 25 and 30, you get a Dearest Johnny letter, and you realize, wow, that wasn't real even when I thought it was real. And it's not there anymore. Shit. Oh shit. Because realizing this helped me realize something else. I was thinking about why I stopped reading manga. It was because the hope that manga plays to isn't real. And then I realized a while after that, a little while after that, oh my god, it's not real. Like Wile E. Coyote running off a cliff. You're suspended in the air until you realize you're suspended in the air. Manga doesn't work because it plays on hope that isn't there. Oh my god, I'm hopeless. No, no hopes. I don't actually believe my life could be any better. Not because it can't be better, not because you are stagnant or you're staying in one place, you aren't moving forward, but rather because the fun, intriguing, exciting, sexy life, one of those lives, you thought you had a chance of leading, that's not going to happen. That's probably why. Did I mention that I bitch about the stretches earlier? I had to have bitched about the stretches at the beginning of the video, didn't I? I didn't cut that out. I've been coming to terms with the fact, even if I focus on stretching, do lots of flexibility, do all this stuff, I will never have an athlete's knees. My knees are like clothespins trying to bob and weave with a deuce and a half on top of them. Or you remember the blank on blank interview with David Foster Wallace? Yeah, he was talking about playing tennis and how when you are active in a sport, especially as a child, not that I'm a child right now, but you come to terms or you see your limitations very early. When you're trying to get good at something and you have some aptitude for it, you'll realize maybe quicker than other people would how far really you can go. There's no fog of maybe I could. There is the knowledge of this is exactly how much. And that's a painful thing to deal with. You get older, you deal with that sort of thing enough, it's not as painful, but it never stops being painful. Bad knees. And I imagine they're gonna get worse. Keep doing flexibility, stay walking, get your arch support, do the dietary shit for your joints, but you're not gonna be gearless Joe. Ever. Not 1/16th gearless Joe. You can be hopeless Joe, you can be kneeless Joe. Some dudes can be like 20-year-olds in their 30s. You aren't one of them. Thinking about all these hijinks you could get into with your scrappy group of character pals. You're an adult. You don't have a lot of money. You don't have a lot of time. What little time you do have needs to go toward the things that could maybe take you somewhere one day, and you don't even have enough time for all of them. And that's implying you meet people you'd like to spend time with, which realistically isn't going to happen, at least on the level manga used to appeal to you on. This isn't to say I don't have people around me. I'm very thankful for the people around me. And this is actually a longer running pattern, longer running than I thought it was, stopping the video to do a review. For the last over 10 years, the only people who get close to me are unreliable freaks as I am. And how are you going to be close to people when you exist? Your survival strategy centers around finding reasons to distrust people or things about them to hate for good reason, but still. And when that's the vibe you're in, there's not a lot of friendliness to grab onto because things to grab onto are vulnerabilities. And I was hanging out with another Jewish woman today. And it today was a day of small revelations. The people I'm around, the people I see a lot, people I'm close to, in all spheres, it feels like people sitting in a freezing bunker with big coats, uncomfortable and suspicious. Like you were supposed to be with a different group, and now you're in an Among Us situation in this cold ass bunker. It's like, no, I'm not a human. That game. You are not going to be young and attractive and hopeful among young, attractive, hopeful friends going out into the world to explore and make memories. You're living out the social version of The Thing. I was thinking of so many different ways of putting this, but that's what it is. It's the thing. That's what your adult life is. It's the thing. I hear strange things out here. I'm all better now, and I'd like to come in. What an unpleasant noise that was. There's a noose. The retarded guy is playing with the dogs. This dog shit, freezing, snowing ass weather isn't helping. I should watch The Thing. That's been on my mind. But the same thing goes for the love manga teases. You'll never find someone if you're focused on people's unpleasantness. But if you aren't focused on their unpleasantness, then they take advantage of you, invariably. So this idea that you could find someone is a pipe dream. But is it? Well, the only people in the past however many years who have been able to slip past your guard, cleanly slip past your guard, are people who intend to assassinate you. So I'm not saying love doesn't exist, but it'll take a miracle. Fortunately, you don't exactly need love to be in love and have a family, kind of, and kids, maybe. But is that good enough for you? Probably not. And if you've gotten to this point at all, how did life get to this point? And manga, romance manga, doesn't appeal so much. And I say again, your life is going somewhere. You are becoming someone. But you probably won't like where you're going, and you probably won't like who you're becoming. And in any case, wherever you go or whoever you become, you don't know where you're going or who you're becoming. You may not go anywhere or become anybody. All that's certain is you are not going or becoming anything manga makes you believe you are or will. And I think that hopefulness or that aspiration is the essence of what manga offers you. Because I can engage with other forms of media, and all forms of media kind of feel like they're doing this a little bit, but not really. With manga, it's the main thing. The story and the characters are the auxiliary shit. It's the hope. It's the happiness or the hope for happiness that manga sells you. Even depressing manga, right? Or the spooky manga, all this stuff. Because with the depressing manga, you get to feel like you are this uniquely, but you're unique because you're not unique, tortured person. This idea that you're connected with other people in shared suffering. Pun Pun is such a shit manga. I have no idea why people think that's the fucking best thing that's ever been made. I read that when I was in middle school. I didn't get it. I went back and tried to read it. It fucking sucked. You know what I can watch? Or that was one of the first things. That was one of the. I think that might have been the first manga I read, actually. But you know what does hold up? Pre-time skip Gurren Lagann. I can't think of a more 50% perfect show. But back to the point with the horror stuff. Even with the horror stuff, you're sold on this idea of an interesting world. And although the world of the manga is what's interesting, in the past you would get this feeling like there is more out there. Or good horror manga makes the world feel so much larger than it is. And I don't feel that so much. And that's always what we're hunting for. We're looking for the flaw in the equation you've spent your entire life building. Because it's not a fun equation. Maybe if you can find this one little thing, everything will flip on its head and life will be better. Or you'll see life better. Or the world will feel large again. You'll feel like there is stuff to discover again. Or rather, the potential for good stuff to be discovered is out there. Because there's plenty of stuff to discover, even in our own conception of the world, but it's usually not good stuff. And I don't know what the replacement for manga would be. We settled on trying to get the best we can in real life for ourselves now, and hopefully a bird in the hand will be worth two in the bush being what manga is offering. But I think what I'm talking about is more like a drug like form of media. Because that's what manga is. Manga, like a bunch of substances, it gives you false hope, false certainty, something that gets you through the day. And it's not like manga got worse, it's that your tolerance got a lot higher because you know what it wants you to feel isn't there for you. And maybe that's what all or most media does at its core, what it's based on, is hooking you on what comes next, especially if they can make you feel like you're part of it somehow. Or what you're seeing speaks to you in some way. Manga just happened to be really good at it. I looked up the definition of recreation. I know what the definition of recreation is, but why recreation? Same with birth, why procreation? Or why, no, procreation makes more sense than recreation does recreation. That fucks with my head. Are you recreating yourself? Is that why we're we're Barbosa pilled at the moment? The wine isn't whining. All this time, and I still really don't have a taste for misery. But we've gotten to the point there's nothing else there. Putting sugar in it or putting a little umbrella in it doesn't change the fact you are drinking misery. You can soften the taste a little bit, but how long is that going to work? Eventually you need to drink it straight, and you can drink it straight, but it never stops hurting. You hope hatred might someday replace the pain. Clearly there's still hope down in there somewhere, but it's receded enough the normal stimulation methods aren't there. And I was freaking out earlier after the Jewish woman thing. Lately life has been feeling like a series of these doors shutting behind you moments. Those used to terrify me. I remember when I was, I think, around 16, made my first door shutting behind me moment, and it scared the shit out of me. And I've gotten better at dealing with them, but they they never lose their gravity somehow. You can get better at dealing with them, but that gravity of knowing that door has slammed shut behind you will always be there. And especially when you trip through one of these doors and then it slams shut behind you. It's like falling down into a cave and you survive and you realize, shit, I just fell down into a cave and I can't climb back out, and I'm also not dead yet. And then you try to stand up and then you slip and fall even deeper into the cave, and you have that same moment again. You need to do something because you're still alive, but not getting into the situation in the first place is not one of those options. Or going back and making a different decision, or going back and being more aware, those aren't options. While everyone else is going around and living their pro-Terranean lives, you are now a cave person, and your only path, I guess, is deeper into the cave, hoping either there's a way out if you go deep enough, or there is something down there that you can sustain yourself on. Because now you're down here, and there's no climbing out. And looking at pictures of above ground women with giant asses is not doing you any favors. That's what manga is. Manga, if we're talking about dangers, I've been thinking about semen retention lately, how odd that whole thing has fallen off quite a lot. It's still odd to me because in terms of dangers, well, okay, some dudes are in it because they have porn addictions. I sympathize. I don't empathize, but I do sympathize. I feel for you. But these other dudes, if you're thinking about mechanisms of degeneration and control, there are so many things that will control you and degenerate you. Way more and more effectively than porn will. Manga being one of them. You're conditioned to fantasize about the day your biggest trouble will be choosing between one of a few cool women or one of a few cool paths to take in life. You are not being trained early to deal with hell cave existence. Not that you even, and that's the painful thing in all this is, and one of the reasons I think maybe this conditioning and control shit must be part of it, part of becoming, because even if you were trained for hell cave existence early, or presented the option to, who would choose that over getting cock teased for a future you feel certain must exist because it feels so good? The idea of experiencing it feels so good. You won't know until you know. And to know, it needs to be too late. It needs to be, at least in certain areas, over. But it's late, probably not going to sleep again. I don't know about you guys. I don't know what it is. Even without that one perfect day thing, I've been feeling like I'm falling apart these last couple months, but especially these last couple weeks. Truly falling apart. I don't know why. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.